You know how hard it is to cut off someone you've known for 10 years? Oh.
Listen, we talk about toxic relationships ad nauseum. It's always about what that ex did or didn't do and why you should move on because you're better than that. But you want to know what we have more of than exes? Friends. Well, most of us. That's right. Toxic friendships are a thing. And I'm pretty sure right now you can think of one or maybe even a couple people that can come to mind. And all of a sudden you want to, you want to take your earrings off and you want to fight. Because let's be real. We know that when it comes to romantic relationships, everyone is not going to be the one, right? But when it comes to our friendships, we start to imagine our lives with these people. We see ourselves in their weddings. We see ourselves being the godmother or godfather to their children. We can't imagine not being in the same nursing home with matching scooters and muumuus. Like, we never think that we're gonna actually part from these people. But the inevitable happens, and in today's video, I want to discuss 3 common traps that keep you in toxic friendships. But I wouldn't be your favorite therapist or life coach if I did not help you avoid these traps. So stay tuned because if you make it to the end of the video, I will share a tool that's gonna help you assess the health of your friendships. Shall we get started?
Aw, hell, it's about to get real.
So off bat, many of us can relate to the first trap. It's history. The trigger statement may sound a little something like this. Well, I've known them since we were 16. We've done everything together. Now, this one can be exceptionally hard, especially when you are in your 20s and 30s, and these are people you've known since you were in the single digits. Single digits? Can you remember being a single digit? I've been 2 digits for a while. My knees showing. Now, the reason this is a trap is because oftentimes we think of our growth. We think about how much time has passed from when we met that person and what it's meant to us to still have a piece of our childhood with us, a piece of those college memories with us. And we tend to give these people more credit just because it seems like they lasted or survived the way you feel like you've survived. Truly, it's really about you. You're really thinking about how much you've been through in this life and thinking about the people that have been there with you as your comrades in battle. Except, babes, half the time, they're the reason for most of the battle that you experience.
You caused the trauma.
I know when I think about a lot of the long-term friendships that I've ended, a lot of these people that are no longer around were a big part of a lot of the times I doubted myself, didn't believe in myself. A lot of them put me down. So we really got to look at this history thing in a whole nother way. And don't worry, I got you. Now, how do we defend ourselves when it comes to the trap of history? Here is one question you can ask yourself. I might have known this person for XYZ years, but could they stay another 10? Some of you are already like, well, don't need to see the rest of the video. This person cannot be in my life for another 10 years. They gotta go. This is important because when we think about where we wanna be in 10 years, we realize that there are people that just can't come with us, especially when we look at how far we've come and how far we wanna go and what we've experienced with this person. When we think about the future, it helps us really ask ourselves, do we really wanna replicate what we've experienced in the past? And here the answer just may be no. Here's the affirmation to help boost your confidence when it comes to thinking about history in the proper way. Today, I welcome friends who align with my journey and support my growth and evolution. Voila. History is no contender for the bright future we want to build. Let's move on, besties. Now, this next trap is very closely related to history, except people are never aware of it until we pretty much spell it out in the therapy or coaching session. Convenience. Now, when it comes to the trigger statement for convenience, I have heard so many of my clients and a lot of my friends say, making friends is too hard. Now, the reason for this is because we're no longer in that collegiate environment. We're no longer in that school environment where everyone is literally in the same age group. As we get older and we step into our big girl and big boy shoes to work these jobs and take on corporate America, we're just no longer in the same environment that we were back in college or in school. There, we had everybody in the same age group, so it was just very easy and convenient, See how that, it was convenient to make friends. Everybody was in the same age group. Everyone had similar interests. We were at similar parties. But when you live in a big metropolitan city, or even worse, if you're in a small town, it can be really hard to find your people. Now, I want to make this very clear. This is largely due to limiting beliefs about your environment. Getting into the workforce does not mean you have to be further away from people in your age group or people with similar interests. It just requires a little bit of creativity. Now, you can reverse this limiting belief by considering what is true convenience for you at this age. This is something a lot of us did not really realize about some of our first friends from back in the day. They were there, okay? A lot of us didn't have cars when we were younger. We didn't have a lot of resources. We didn't even know about a lot of our own personal interests. So whatever we did know, we just acted on what we did know. And whatever we did have, we acted on that. People included. For example, I went to Florida State University. Naturally, my friends were going to come from the very small Black population that was there at Florida State University. If I happened to join a club because I'm trying to make friends and, explore my interests, naturally the people that are there, it was just a matter of convenience. Now, this is very different compared to being an adult here in the Atlanta area at my big age. Now, if I'm intending on making friends, I want to think about who has similar interests with me, especially now that I'm older and I understand myself so much more. I'm not just gonna wanna make friends with someone just because they're also a Black woman in Atlanta. I'm not gonna jive with every Black woman in Atlanta. But if I decide to go to a Black vegan festival or an arts festival or even someone's meditation class, more than likely the women that I connect with at those events are gonna be people that I'm going to jive with. To me, that is so much more convenient because I don't have to think about whether or not we're gonna really butt heads on the things that matter most to me. So when it comes to convenience, yeah, we might have had these people around for XYZ years, and it might just be convenient to keep them as friends because making friends these days takes a lot more effort and creativity. But we really have to ask ourselves, don't we deserve better friends that match our interests? So of course, the affirmation that I have for you is, I deserve a tribe that matches my vibe. Because you do. Now, I'm not gonna lie, as a therapist and life coach, it is very difficult to have to tell someone the truth about themselves, but I'm also a Leo and I do it very well. This third one may be a little bit triggering, so please have grace on yourself because I have been there and a lot of us have. You may be in this toxic friendship because you and or they are codependent. Some of y'all just logged off. Now, the trigger statement is, I need them, or I can't see life without them. And now this is so difficult because when we love our friends, and as imperfect as they are, we often love our friends, no matter what kind of friendship breakup we might have experienced or how they may have hurt us. We've just learned to love them, and it's mainly because we're mimicking some, relationships to our parents. But that's a video for another day. Because of this deep love that we have for our friends, it can be very difficult to let go. Now, this is related to a younger, more insecure version of ourselves that needed validation from our peers. In another video, I will talk about the different validating systems and the authorities that we have in those validating systems that alter and impact our self-esteem. A lot of us have become so used to having certain people in our lives that make us feel good about being ourselves that to let them go almost means letting go of our identity. Now, this only is the case if you are still operating in a codependent fashion. On the healthy and whole side of things, you are healed and you know who you are, independent of the people that you have around you. Codependency is basically saying, hey, I need you to feel good about me. You've been around this long, I need you here. I can't see life without you because you're so much a part of who I am as a person. That sounds kind of crazy, but it's really a normal thing to experience as we make friends, especially from childhood to adulthood. This is the stickiest of the traps to avoid, but there is a solution. You can reverse this by affirming that this new, more secure and confident version of you deserves people that are aligned with them. And of course, to affirm you with avoiding this trap, here's your affirmation. I don't need anyone that holds me back from being my highest self. Woo! I'm not gonna lie, that was a difficult one, and I'm sure it's difficult for you on your end too, so let me affirm you. This is not easy. Ending friendships and realizing that you have people in your life that no matter how long they've been in your life, they just gotta go. That's not easy to do. And I know I just went over these 3 traps, talked about the trigger statements, talked about how to reverse the limiting beliefs tied to these traps, and gave you some affirmations, but it can still be very difficult to cut people off. You know how hard it is to cut off someone you've known for 10 years? Oh, I mean, some of us got matching tattoos. We done decided on baby names together. We became their kid's godparent. It's just not easy to throw away these friendships. But my friend, it's not supposed to be easy. But no worries, I have a tool that's gonna help you process even further and give you more support to figure out whether or not these people really have to get the boot. Because this ain't Texas. Now, as a mental health professional, I have helped so many of my clients assess the health of their friendships using this tool. I call it the Friendship Gradebook, but essentially it's something that you can use on your family members, your romantic partners, coworkers, business partners, anyone that you have a relationship with. Essentially, what this tool does, it assesses the health of your relationships based on 40 qualities. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw a screen grab right up here so you can kind of follow along. Essentially, there are 40 qualities: trustworthy, loyal, supportive, vulnerable, fun-loving, welcoming, thoughtful, encouraging. These are the different kinds of qualities that we expect to see in our friends. If they're good friends, essentially they will score pretty high in these areas, but I understand that sometimes thinking of the word, respectful, it may be a little bit lost on us. So I also included a reflection. So the reflection that pairs with respectful, for example, is they honor your boundaries, opinions, and decisions. They treat you with care and dignity. Now, what you do with the rest of the Friendship Gradebook is at the top, you will go ahead and put the names of your friends, and you will take your time to assess each friend one by one, or you can decide to take it quality at a time and go down the list and actually grade your friends. So for example, when it comes to trustworthy, the reflection is a good friend is reliable and can be trusted with personal information and secrets. As you can see here, Sarah is my day one. She's my ride or die, and she has 100 because for the most part, she's practically perfect in this area. Now, of course, there's no such thing as actual perfection, but I think that you can give someone 100 if the majority of the time they come through when it comes to that quality. Now, Leah is, pretty good at this, but not as good as Sarah, and I just gave her the number of 75. Jack is Jack, and so Jack gets a 65, but Quan sucks in this area. Quan has told my secrets on a number of occasions, not even like a Freudian slip kind of thing. It almost seems like Quan has gone out of her way to tell my secrets and tell my business. Quan will get a 0. As you can see, these cells are color coded. So whenever someone is doing a really exceptional job, they will have the bright green color for 100. If they suck and they have a 0 or a low number like a 20, it will be that dark burgundy or that bright red color. When you get towards the bottom, your friends will have an overall score. And of course, unless they get hundreds for everything, it is fine to see your friends in the high 90s or high 80s area. Where I would tell you to raise an eyebrow and consider is to go ahead and look at the people that might have scored in the 60 range. 70s, we really need to just make them associates, but when it comes to people that are in the 60 range or lower, we really got to consider whether or not we deserve having them as friends. Another helpful way that you can take the Friendship Gradebook is you can put yourself next to each one of your friends. Now, because there are 6 slots, you will only have the ability to do this with 3 friends at a time. For example, if I wanted to go ahead and compare how I show up as a friend compared to Quan, I will go ahead and put my name and give myself scores on how I feel I show up for Quan when it comes to these 40 qualities. Now, if I notice that my overall score is a 90 and Quan is at a whopping 62, that That difference in scores is telling me that I am far too loyal. I'm far too present as a friend compared to Quan. And I deserve people that are going to match energies. Whenever you compare your score versus another friend's score, you should see very little difference, especially in these categories. All of these categories are equally important. I took my time to decide which 40 qualities are the best to actually grade a person on. So there really shouldn't be much of a difference. This is a great tool that'll not only help you check your friends, but check yourself. I will put the link in the pinned comment, as well as a link if you're interested in one-on-one coaching. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope it is helpful. Please give me your feedback down below. Which of these traps are the hardest for you? If there are any affirmations that have personally helped you get rid of some of these toxic friends and leave these traps for good, please share them down below and help our community here on YouTube. But until next time, that's it for me. Love you guys. Bye.